Hello, Buffalo brother George. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Buffalo brother John?
I'm good. I got my Buffalo Bills cup with water in it.
And I got my Three Stooges mug again.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but we have some good feelings. I think after that last game,
They won. They beat the Jets. I know
they
I
beat
picked
the
them to
Jets.
lose. I think I
They
picked them to lose anyway.
they
So
beat
they
the
they
Jets.
beat the Jets. That's
They came
fantastic.
away with the victory.
That
They
counts.
they did some cabbage head things, but they came away with the victory. And that really, at the end of, I don't know if that's all that matters anymore. Shouldn't say the win is all that matters. The win was great. A lot of other things matter as well, but getting the win and stopping a two-game losing streak was very, very important.
You're right. Right.
And they were on the road, and now they get to go home. So
That right.
congratulations for getting at least a win, Buffalo Bills, out of the three road games. Disappointed that we didn't get more than that, but we'll take it. You stopped the streak, you got things turned around, and you found a way to win.
Okay. That is what it is.
And now, John,
Mhm.
Mr. Bean,
Brandon Bean.
he went to work this week.
About time he did some work around here.
Yeah, what do you think he did?
Got a wide receiver.
Yeah, a wide receiver, Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns.
That is correct.
They traded for him.
Traded for him.
They gave up a third round pick and a future sixth round pick. And then they got back a seventh round pick and Amari Cooper.
Right.
Now, Amari Cooper is what they say he is number one wide receiver. He continues to go over 1,000 yards every year in receiving, and I think I heard 1,250 yards. But it's a 17 games a season,
It is.
so 1,000 yards is only like 55 yards a game. It's not like they're setting the world on fire. It's only 4 or 5 catches a game.
Oh, it implies a certain amount. If you say number one, as opposed to like, if you mean number one as in at the end of the season will have the most yards,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But number one kind of implies a certain amount of consistency of being being a target
Being a
every week
being
and
a target in the critical times in games when
yeah,
you need a
catching some
catch.
first downs. Yeah,
We'll find out.
maybe a touchdown.
I've seen him play. He's a big bodied guy, and I like him. I like the way he plays. And they talk about how he had bad quarterbacks in Cleveland, and he had Dak Prescott in Dallas, which really is not that bad a quarterback. I'm sorry.
Well, he did well.
I thought he did well.
He did well in with the Raiders.
Hmm.
He did well in Dallas. For some reason, Dallas seemed to they re-signed him, they gave him extension, and then they seemed like they were discontented with his play for what they were paid. Not that they didn't like his play, but they felt that they overpaid after they got into the deal.
Hmm.
So now they also had CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, they brought in
So they went
CeeDee
ahead
Lamb,
and
and
traded
when
him.
he was on a rookie contract, they really did not need to pay a guy that money, but he was getting $20 million a year from somebody,
Yep.
and he doesn't want 20 million. He wants 30 million or 35 million.
Well, that's fine. I don't know what the Bills will do when the season is over. I have no idea.
We
So
know,
this could be they gave up a third round pick to rent him for a year. I
yeah,
don't know.
and I heard that the Bills only have to pay him somewhere near $1 million this year. The rest of the money was paid by upfront by Cleveland.
Apparently, what's left on his deal is veteran minimum. So whatever that is per week,
Hmm.
that's apparently what it
And
is.
then after that, we don't know. So we got him for 11 games. Will he play this week or will it be 10 games? We'll find out.
What I did find interesting was that last year it was so important to Bean that he got back that third round draft pick
Hmm.
that he traded out of the first round to get it.
Hmm.
And then now he's gonna give it away to rent a guy for 11 games.
Hmm.
So like if they were gonna sign him, or if they do indeed sign him, then it's not a rental and it's a third round pick for a guy who's going to help you for maybe several years. That's great. But either third round picks are so valuable that you would trade back to acquire them, or they're do you just throw them away for a rental? Like I don't know. I think Brandon Bean is not good at parts of his job.
which are the important parts.
Well, I want to make sure I give him credit for like over the years, they found some undrafted free agent guys. They have found some late round guys. But I'm beginning to question whether he and his staff did a great job sourcing out them, or if the coaches did a great job with what they had. I don't know. I thought it was great picks by Brandon, but I'm beginning to think that maybe it's not so much because he was willing to bring this team into the season with a wide receiver room that was woefully under talented, understaffed, just under. He fills out the 90-man roster each year. There weren't enough wide receivers on that roster to make an actual NFL room. And that's squarely on his shoulders. Which, that's his job. That is his job.
The Bills draft choice was late in the first round. And he was so intent on getting a third round pick that he traded back with the Kansas City Chiefs, a number 31 position or number 32, whatever it was, in order to pick up a third round pick, which was fine. But by doing so, he gave the Kansas City Chiefs Xavier Worthy, who, to my information, is the fastest guy in football. They could have had that guy. The Bills could have taken him.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want the speed.
No.
And then
Well, that's clear.
they traded back again with Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still sitting here today saying they were trying to help the Carolina Panthers get the guy they wanted.
What was that? Legate?
Xavier Legette.
Xavier Legate?
And
That's
I
who
sitting here
Carolina picked.
saying, okay, if you didn't want Xavier Worthy, which is fine, if that's not what you want on your team, did they actually pass up a first round pick that they could have had? I don't know who. We'd have to go back and look and see who was drafted at that time. But did the Bills give up a first round pick, a true player that was first round, for a guy like Coleman, who they probably could have got late in the second round without an issue?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And then they traded to the first pick of the second round and took Coleman, which is fine. But could they have traded that and gotten a later second round pick plus maybe a fourth round pick and still gotten Coleman? I just,
Yeah, it's
it's
a good point.
beyond
We don't
me
know.
what his thinking was. I'm starting to think that whether it's Bean during the draft or McDermott during the game, that they can't make last minute decisions that are smart.
Well, here's the thing, though. Bean doesn't have to make last minute decisions. They go through those scenarios over and over again for weeks ahead of time. His decisions are laid out. He's already practiced. He's practiced them.
Okay. I'm hoping so.
So that being the case, he they're not surprised. Like when it was their pick, they had a pretty good idea who was going to be there, and they decided to do what they did.
Mhm.
Like they waited until their pick came to see if there was a surprise, something that fell to them. It didn't, and they kind of knew ahead of time that they didn't like what was there.
Okay.
Now that's on them. It's up, and only time will tell. Like Coleman was not going to be someone that was going to have great success in his rookie season.
Mhm.
But he could. He's got talent. He's got athleticism. He could develop into a great player.
Mhm.
That's fine. We'll have a much better feel for Coleman next year after like the off season between the time you get out of college or the time you play your last game in college to the time you show up for training camp. those kids are so busy. The first thing they got to do, like the silliest thing in the world, instead of practicing their craft, they got to practice how to run a 40-yard dash.
Yeah, right,
I
right.
mean, they got to, and they do have to practice it because millions depend on it.
Yeah.
If you get picked in the middle of first round or the top of the third, it's several $1 million difference. They have got to practice that.
Mhm.
They got to practice the drills
Yeah.
as opposed to practicing cutting and whatever. So this offseason, that's when you'll get with an individual coach, maybe Eric Molds, maybe Jerry Wright. We don't know who,
Yeah.
but he'll get with an individual coach. Now he's got some money. He'll be able to afford to pay somebody to work with him one on one for a couple of weeks. And then next year, when he comes to camp, we'll begin to see what his future will. This year, we just don't know.
Well, hopefully he'll hang out with a guy like Khalil Shakir or our new guy.
Khalil Shakir better be in camp somewhere. Better have an individual coach too. He's got a
He,
long way to go.
Khalil Shakir does. He works with Aaron Moles.
Well, okay, and that's where he's got to be. Like him and Coleman don't shouldn't be hanging out. They need to be at personal
Well,
coaches
I
getting
meant
better.
he might have should be with Shakir with training under Eric Moles.
Oh,
So I'm with you. Let's give him a break. Let's find out what next year or sophomore year gives. Now, what about the game, John? We got a kicker who flubbed an extra point, attempted a field goal that it's still I don't know what he was where he was kicking the
yeah, it was
ball.
pretty bad.
We had a debacle at the end of the first
Yeah,
half
yeah.
where we were leading
Yep.
20 to 10
The Hail Mary.
and we give up a Hail Mary again. A Hail Mary.
The offense goes down, scores. You think they're
Eight
going to double
seconds
dip?
left.
You think they're going to double dip because they get the ball at the beginning of the second half? And you're talking about 20 to 10. Maybe we could be 23 to 10. Maybe we could be 27 to 10. And they give up a Hail Mary.
88 seconds left. The Bills rushed two guys, so there's no pressure on Rodgers, which is fine. And people are saying, well, he had plenty of time to sit back there and find his in a Hail Mary, you don't find your receiver. It's like eight Bills guys in the end zone, and you got one or two Jets players there. And the Jets player was taller, more agile, and he went up and got the ball. How do you let that happen? How do you let it happen?
Well, personally, I think it's a coaching issue.
Mhm.
That's it's a coaching issue. We've seen this coaching staff have issues. The players have issues before. The ones that come to mind, Justin Jefferson, Hal Murray. It's just they for a team that is a defensive secondary that is kind of noted for using their heads and being creative back there. That just is something that nobody seems to understand. Knock it down.
Knock it down.
Knock it down. It's fourth down, pass to Justin Jefferson. You knock it down. Your offense comes out. They kneel on the ball. You win.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they got to try to intercept it. Justin Jefferson leaps over him, cabs it, gets the first down. Knock it down.
So now we are 4-2, which is good. We leading the division. It's a healthy lead. We are number 4 if you're looking at seeding. It's really too early for that, but that's where we are.
The team that lost to Baltimore,
And
them behind them.
and Baltimore and Houston and they got Kansas City coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, they could go. They could have a clean sweep, lose to all the division leaders.
Yeah, and you got the Tennessee Titans coming in, maybe one of the best defenses in the league, but overall one of the worst teams in the league. They're only 1-4. And the Bills, after bringing back in Teron Johnson and Terrell Bernard's like been back for like 2 weeks. Teron Johnson just this last game And now they're both out for the Tennessee game. So maybe they both came back too early. And but you should have Shakir back. So we may have a we don't know if the new guy's gonna play. So you may have a better offense, but Ray Davis, the king of the offense last week. Congratulations, Ray Davis. What a wonderful game for you. Cook is back, but now Davis is hurt.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a back to the crappy defense and back to an okay offense. And I still think that they're going to be able to beat the Tennessee Titans, but a game that we should win by double digits. I think it's going to be another knockdown, fight 'em, brutal game in Buffalo.
Well, luckily it's a home game. That'll help them a bit. Guys like Spector might have to start. If Bernard's out, Spector will have to start.
Mm-hmm.
If
We're going back to Cam
Terrence
Lewis,
Johnson
maybe.
is out, Cam Lewis
Oh
will have to
God,
start.
Cam Lewis.
Uh, we might see more Ingram again as they mess around. So, with that being said, it'll be good that they're playing at home.
Are we gonna make the Tennessee Titans look like a good offense? Or are we gonna be able to tee off and get this Will Levis on the ground?
Well, I don't know. I haven't watched any Tennessee games. I can't tell you. I wasn't aware that they had a good defense, but
Oh
um,
yeah, I think they're ranked number two in the league
it's impressive for a defense to be ranked so high when
when
they
they're 1-4.
lose so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know. Um, I had no idea that they were ranked so high.
We'd have to look back at who they played. Now they're gonna play the Bills, whose offense isn't very good. They may look like the 85 Bears. I don't know. To see. But I think Josh Allen and the team is gonna be able to score enough to get by Tennessee and go 5-2.
Okay, you have a score prediction?
I do. I think it's gonna be like 21 because I don't trust that we'll get any field goals. 21-17.
Yeah, I was going to say 24-17. Hopefully, they'll only maybe Tennessee only score three the whole game,
Mm-hmm.
just avoid a shutout, and that would be fantastic. But you don't know with these guys.
You know what we haven't done this week yet? We haven't talked about rank grading the teams. How would you grade the Bills' offense in this last game?
I give him a solid B.
I do too. I mean, that kid, Ray Davis, between his rushing yards was somewhere around 100 yards, and he had another 50 some odd yards in passing, a good 150 plus yards for total yardage, and that was for a rookie. Good for him. Congratulations. I mean, that was a wonderful, wonderful performance. And I think he is the one that kept the Bills' offense alive.
Mhm.
And but on the other side of the coin, we had a defense that did get, I mean, they got 3 sacks that I remember, but they give up a, a Hail Mary with 8 seconds left. Come on. How do you do that?
I think Epineza was credited with two, and
Yeah.
Dequan got one
Mm-hmm.
back. The Hail Mary. This was a fellow who Aaron Rodgers was a fellow who had been having trouble in the pocket because he's had difficulty moving. He's got
They
still has
said
the
he
leg
was a
issue.
statue. Yeah.
Well, that's what they said, but he actually was having issues in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it wasn't that 3 sacks aren't enough, but I thought they would force him to move more. Uh, Even if they didn't get the sack, I thought that they would force him out of the pocket and he would have to move more. He seemed to have some nice little pockets quite a bit. And they didn't do they did better than they did better than I thought they would do as I was watching the game. As before the game, I thought they would win at home and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Our offense, Ray Davis came in and like two drives were basically him.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, So I'm giving them a B. The offensive line played well. They, it's not their fault that the defense gave up the Hail Mary. So I give them that. If anything, I would have liked to see maybe score a couple more touchdowns. They had the missed field goal that would have been 3 more points on the board, but a couple of times in the red zone they stalled, and I would like to see that. I would like to have seen them score touchdowns there instead of having to settle for field goals.
What did you rank the? Did you grade the defense yet?
No, you haven't asked me.
All right.
You haven't rated the offense.
Oh, okay. I give him a solid B as well. I thought it was okay. Again, Josh did do a cabbage head thing. He was cabbage head on one play where he fumbled the ball. If you remember, his hand was out. It looked like he was going to try and throw it from with inside the red zone, but the ball flew out of his hand. He fumbled the ball, and then the Bills were able to recover again in the red zone. And then he went and threw a touchdown pass. So he almost did a cabbage head thing. He did a cabbage head thing, but his teammate saved him. Um, so I still give him a B, but I can't give him any higher than that. That's for sure. How about defense?
Well, probably a C. It's a C.
Okay. For me, it's a D.
Okay.
You know, how many times, twice that I could remember that the the Jets got deep within the red zone against us. One time they scored a touchdown that got called back for a holding penalty. Uh, but both times the Bills were able to hold them off from scoring a touchdown. But their kicker mixed field goals. There's 6 points right there. They should have beat us. And and when they were down in that red zone, to get down to the red zone, the defense gave up big plays to the Jets to let them get down in the red zone. So I thought, wow, there were some good plays on the defensive side, and you saw some positive with Bernard and Terrell Johnson being back in there. I thought it wasn't enough to overcome some of the lousy play on the defense. So I'm going to give them a D.
Okay.
And special teams is a big fat F. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's
Yeah.
just it's the kicker. He's got to go. They brought in a guy now. He's on the practice squad. I heard today, I saw somebody talking about how when you look at his numbers, they're no better than Bass, but at least it's just another different person. I mean,
Well, I don't know what numbers they're talking about.
exactly.
You know,
They didn't
it
say.
could be college numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know if he spent much time in the NFL. He he has a record for the longest field goal, I think, in the Southeast Conference at
Okay.
61 yards.
All right.
Now I don't know. He could be the most inaccurate kicker outside of that. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only thing I know about him. So look, he's on the practice squad. He is probably going to get an opportunity if Bass. Well, if Bass keeps playing the way he is, he'll get an opportunity.
Mm.
If not, he might still get an opportunity. So um, we'll see him when we'll see him. I don't know when they might elevate him. Probably not this week.
Yeah, probably not. And but I'm interested, really. Excuse me. I'm not going to worry about field goals when we still got to find a way to consistently move the ball through the air down the field. It's a passing team, or it was, John. And now they found a way to move the ball against some teams on the ground. The Jets, they moved it against a decent defense on the ground.
Well, they moved it against the Jets are a decent defense in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They're the worst team against the run this year. So that's for either the 31st or 32nd team against the run.
Yeah, and they lost
So,
their coach, so they had a lot of turmoil going on in that locker room.
so we did against the Jets whatever the people did.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still impressive. What Ray did
We were able to do it.
was
Yeah.
impressive. Yeah.
And rightfully, we should be able to do that against Tennessee.
We'll see if Ray Davis can ever play again. Like he's injured now. I don't know if he's
Right. Will we see him the
active
rest of
or
the year?
not.
Right.
I don't know if he'll be active or not. We don't know what the heck the injury is. Hopefully
Hmm.
it's
It's some kind
but
of calf injury. I don't know. Other than that.
now I will say though, talking about injuries, if Terran Johnson and Bernard miss another game because of injuries, like at the end of the season, they've already committed to Terran Johnson for a year.
Hmm.
They got to give real thought to change that middle linebacker
Hmm.
because you need somebody who can stay on the field.
As good as he is,
Yeah.
he's not there enough to make the difference. And it's the same stuff we've seen Milano go
And you
through.
can't depend on Milano.
He's gone. I mean, he had a good year last year. He stayed healthy all year, but that's one of the very, very few seasons we saw that happen. Normally, he's out 4 or 5 games a year, Milano,
And this is
and
this year's more
this
than
year,
that.
yeah, already more than that after being injured the end of last year. So they got problems in linebacker. They got problems in safety. They got problems in the pass rush. They got problems.
Rapp had a good game. Speaking of safety, Rapp was that was a notable. He
Hmm.
had a good game as well. Um, the other safety position is a bit of a question mark.
Damar Hamlin was playing, and he really is at best a good backup player at best.
Okay, anything else?
I'm excited about that they went out and got themselves a 30-year-old wide receiver. He's about the same age as Diggs, so it's not like we went out and got like a 36-year-old guy, or we didn't get a 24-year-old guy. We got a guy at the same time in his career as Diggs, which he probably, John, is really a really good number two receiver. But for us, he's going to be a number one receiver.
Well, yeah,
But
presumably.
it gives Josh somebody to throw through. It also changes the way the defense has to think about our receiving core.
Well,
They're not going to be able to just man to man all of them because this kid can get open.
well, we don't know that, but what we do know is that well, I should say we don't know how the defenses are going to cover it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know
Right.
because one thing that Cleveland had was nobody else as well,
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
And
Yeah,
everybody
that's
else
true.
as well, and he's not having a good year there, especially not with 9 drops. So we'll see. We'll see on that. We also got to see just other than a running attack, can can our offensive coordinator scheme a wide receiver open?
I gotta
We've
tell you,
had 3 games now where he hasn't done that.
I gotta tell you, this is conspiracy theory. Everybody's conspiracy theory. The kid, what's his name, John? The right receiver? Cooper? Cooper. He's got some drops, like you said. Oh, he's got 9 drops. Isn't it odd that last year Diggs was having a lot of drops and all of a sudden he's not dropping the ball anymore? Could it be a conspiracy theory to say these guys are dropping balls because they want out?
Yeah.
And the management finally
Hold on.
says, listen,
Hold on.
let's just get rid of him. He's
How
ruining
many
our
drops did Diggs have last year?
too many.
No, how many?
I don't know. 4, I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, Fleur would be great. That'd be a
He had
fantastic season.
drops in the playoffs.
He was notable for dropping that what would have been a touchdown
Hmm.
on that game that got knocked out, and the game that knocked him out of the playoffs. Um, he didn't have a bad season. In fact, the first half of the season, he had a great season. He was doing quite well. So
Well, that's what I.
Brady
Mhm.
changed, and suddenly Dick started struggling. It was like he got flipped off. It was like a switch got flipped off, and that's your offense coordinator. He did that.
Okay.
So,
You're
uh,
saying Brady's fault that he was dropping balls?
well, how many did he drop? Prove he dropped balls. I saw 2. Did he drop more than 2?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
Well, I think you might want to. But
It's my conspiracy theory. I could have it. It's just
but
conspiracy.
I just say, like,
Conspiracy.
I have yet to see this offensive coordinator do something special.
Well,
And he's been their coordinator almost for 16 games.
we'll see when Cooper comes in if all of a sudden he's catching balls instead of dropping.
I shouldn't
We'll
say
see.
that. I shouldn't say that. I, I I have yet to see him do something special in the passing game.
Hmm.
I have seen him do some special things with the running game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's
Maybe
real.
he should be a run coordinator. Maybe it's too soon for him to be an offensive coordinator.
George, he might have been promoted faster than he should have been. He
Hmm.
got promoted from they won a they won uh, a national championship in LSU, and from that he got it was his first year there.
Hmm.
From that he got a coordinator position in Carolina.
Hmm.
He didn't make it half the season. He got fired. Then he got the quarterback coach here, and in his second year is or halfway through his second year, he got the coordinator position here. So he may have been promoted just way too fast.
All right, here's what I got to tell you about him being promoted. Now, I haven't said anything about negative about Joe Brady, but he was the quarterback's coach in a year that Josh Allen had 17 interceptions and 16 fumbles. What kind of coaching is that?
That's the guy they promoted.
That's the guy they promoted.
That's the guy they promoted.
Yeah, now we didn't lose all 16 fumbles. He lost 10, we lost six out of the 16, but Amari with 17 interceptions and cabbage head designation, and that's the guy that got promoted to offensive coordinator. And we did win 5 games when he took over last year. 5 straight games. We got into won to the division, got to the playoffs, and now we are struggling after 3 straight wins. We're struggling really bad. And there's something rotten in Denmark. I got to tell you, there's something rotten in Denmark. Whether it's Bean, who's making decisions on players, whether it's McDermott making decisions on late play and how to manage the clock, or on who his coaching staff should be if he made that decision. There's something rotten in Denmark, everybody.
Yeah,
But,
I don't know what's going on there. I'm with you there. I
we
don't know what's going on.
we still have a long season. I did make the statement that after 6 weeks, which we've got now, I would tell you whether or not I'm adjusting my total wins for the Bills, where I said there were 11 win. They were going to have an 11 win season. And here it is. If they lose to the Tennessee Titans, the best they can do is 10 wins. If they beat the Tennessee Titans this week, I still think they got 11 win season. So to me, this game that's coming up is very important. Since I believe they're going to win, I still think then they have 11 game win because I think they're going to beat the Titans. But if they lose, they can't hit 11 game.
I when they hired Brady, I don't know if you know this, but you've heard of the Rooney Rule.
Mhm.
Or if you have a head coach, you have to interview at least one diverse candidate. And I think specifically an
Right,
African
right.
American candidate. That was extended to coordinators as well. So they interviewed at least one person that was African American for that offensive coordinator position.
Okay.
Could be somebody that was on staff. I mean, I don't know.
Right. We don't.
But that's the thing. How do we not know who they interviewed? What are what are the people in the media that cover this team?
I have to ask in these questions.
What are they doing? Like how do they not know who they talked to, who they interviewed? When COVID was around and all interviews were over I could understand them not being able to figure out who's been visiting the building, but how do you not know who is interviewed for the offensive coordinator position? Did they just interview the two guys? Did they interview anybody outside of the organization? That guy, there's a staff in Houston that's doing a phenomenal job with what that then was a rookie quarterback and now a second year quarterback.
Mhm.
Was anybody in that staff interviewed for this job? Anybody? Hey, anything else? I'm all done.
I'm all riled up. That what you just said is very important, and I'm with you. And I think the media doesn't ask the questions because they don't want to.
Don't be shut out.
They don't want to get shut out by saying, "Oh, you asked us a tough question. We're no longer going to give you information." And that is not what the media is supposed to do. They're supposed to dig and uncover this stuff. And I want to know too. I think you're right. It should be information that gets out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you. All right, everybody.
enjoy the game,
Enjoy the game.
and I think we're
Hopefully we
gonna
have a
get the
nice
win.
win, right? Hopefully we have a
And
good
I
win.
hope we see Cooper, and I hope Cook is back up to himself because he's got a long way to go to outperform
Yeah. Hopefully
what Ray Davis just did.
the injury report isn't as severe. Like some of these guys are able to play,
Yeah, we'll
or
find out.
even if they miss the game, it's not as severe, and they'll be back in a
Yeah.
week. All right. Well, good luck to those guys. See everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.
Enjoy. Go Buffalo.